All right, we are now recording. Again, my name is Zoe Burgess, your city clerk. Welcome to the first Art and Public Places Advisory Board. This is the Art and Public Places Advisory Board meeting of September 22nd, 2022. It's being held with a quorum of advisory board members physically in attendance at the Westlake Council Chambers, 4005 Seminole Pratt Whitney Road. Our city attorney, Mr. Donald Duty, is attending virtually via electronic media technology. Please allow me to confirm Mr. Duty is on the line and is able to hear and speak and see. Mr. Duty?
Good evening, Zoe, and welcome board members. I trust you can hear me clearly.
Mr. Duty, are you on the line?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Give me just a moment.
I can hear you. Zoe, I can hear you. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Mr. Duty, are you on the line?
Yes, ma'am, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Thank you. Public comments may be
Very good.
accepted prior to the meeting utilizing the electronic comment card available on the city's website. Public comments are also permitted at the appropriate time, and the board chair will call for such during public comment, and you may participate at this time utilizing the system's virtual hand feature and waiting to be acknowledged. Please note this meeting is being recorded, both voice and video, and to remember your mic may be live. I will mute any microphones that carry any feedback or interruptions. If you are a caller that has been muted, you may unmute yourself by pressing *6. Any person in the virtual meeting causing a disruption or being inappropriate will be removed from the meeting. If I may also remind those physically in attendance, please utilize microphones so that the virtual audience and a clear recording of the meeting is produced. This meeting of the Art and Public Places Advisory Board is called to order at 6:03 p.m. I will present the roll call. Please acknowledge that you are present. Board Member Nancy Bongiovanni.
Present.
Board Member Gail Blair Lewis.
Present.
Board Member Jennifer Estes.
Present.
Board Member Lauren Mondell.
Present.
And Board Member Paul Abrams is absent at the time. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice for all.
Please be seated. Thank you. Now we'll begin with our oath of office. May I have Gail Blair Lewis, please? Step over here, please. Hand. And you're going to repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Gail Blair Lewis,
Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution and government of the United States and the state of Florida,
do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution and government of the United States and of the state of Florida,
that I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state,
that I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state,
and that I will faithfully perform the duties of Art and Public Places Board member of the city of Westlake, Florida,
and that I will faithfully perform the duties of Art and Public Places Board member of the city of Westlake, Florida,
on which I am now about to enter, so help me God.
on which I am now about to enter, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Ms. Bongiovanni, you're next.
just read it all along. You're going to repeat after me. Raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Nancy Bongiovanni,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution and government of the United States and the state of Florida,
that I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution and government of the United States and of the state of Florida,
that I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state,
that I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state,
and that I will faithfully perform the duties of Art and Public Places Board of the city of Westlake, Florida,
and I will faithfully perform the duties of Art and Public Places Board member of the city of Westlake, Florida,
on which I am now about to enter, so help me God.
on which I am now about to enter. So help me God.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. Ms. Estes, will you pronounce your name for me?
Estes.
Estes, okay.
Thank you.
And you bring the right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Jennifer Estes,
Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution and government of the United States and state of Florida,
do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution and government of the United States and the state of Florida,
and that I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state,
and that I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state,
and that I will faithfully perform the duties of Art and Public Places Board member of the city of Westlake, Florida,
and that I will faithfully perform the duties of Art and Public Places Board member of the city of Westlake, Florida,
on which I am now about to enter, so help me God.
on which I am now about to enter, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Let's just find out. Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Lauren Mondell,
Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution and government of the United States and of the state of Florida,
do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution and government of the United States and the state of Florida,
on which I am now about to enter, so help me God.
on which I am now about to enter, so help me God.
Congratulations. Okay, so now we're moving on in our agenda for the approval of the agenda. May I have a motion for a board member to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve. Nancy Bongiovanni.
Thank you. May I have a second, please?
Board member Jennifer, I second the motion.
Thank you. Roll call. Board member Bongiovanni,
Present.
board member Blair Lewis,
Present.
board member Estes,
Present.
board member Mondell,
Present.
4-0. Thank you. Now we're going to move on to new business. We have board organization, selection of board chair and vice chair, and city attorney will provide further details of that. Board City Attorney Duty?
Thank you, ma'am. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Congratulations, board members. You're going to play an important role in the development of your city, Westlake, and I hope you enjoy your tenure on the board. And the city attorney's office looks forward to assisting you to the best of its ability. Municipal boards, generally like city commissions, city councils, follow Robert's Rules of Order. Therefore, in order to have an orderly discussion and action taken by a board or a committee or a council or a commission, one needs to preside over that particular body. Toward that end, I'd respectfully request that the four of you this evening consider appointing a chairperson and a vice chairperson. That would require a nomination, a second, and a roll call vote. Therefore, that individual then can step into the position of being the chairperson and chair the meeting going forward and in future meetings. In the event your chairperson is unable to attend the meeting, the vice chair would step into that position and chair the meeting for purposes of entertaining the action items on your agenda. So if you would, amongst the four of you, consider making a motion to appoint one of you to act in the position of chair.
We just met.
Would you like to be chair?
It's an awkward moment, but maybe one of you would volunteer
Vice
to
chair.
make it easier. You don't know one another, but it is a formality that is, now, just so you understand, the chair does not have any additional responsibilities. His or her vote does not carry any additional weight. It's really just a position granted or selected, if you will, in this case, to chair the meetings and provide the direction for organizational purposes.
Okay, so we're decided, so somebody needs to make the motion.
So you would be making a
I'm
motion
sorry,
to, they've decided, so you'd be
Yeah.
making a motion to appoint Mrs. or Board Member Bongiovanni as chair. City Attorney, would you like two motions? One for the chair, one for the vice chair?
Let's do one at a time. Did that motion have a second?
Okay, may,
Jennifer Estes seconds the motion.
Thank you.
Roll call vote, please.
actually, can you, let's do that over. Can we please have the motion, please?
This is Board Member Jennifer Estes. I want to make a motion to appoint Nancy Bongiovanni as chair.
Thank you. May I have a second to that motion, please?
I, Gail Blair Lewis, second that motion.
Thank you very much. We have a motion by Board Member Estes, seconded by Board Member Blair Lewis. Roll call. Board Member Blair Lewis.
Present.
Board Member Estes.
Present.
Board Member Mondell.
Present.
Board Member Abrams. Board Member Bongiovanni.
Present.
Motion carries 4-0. Thank you. Now, if I can entertain a motion to appoint the vice chair.
Excuse me, if I, Madam Clerk, if I might, respectfully, you all, we have recognized during the course of the meeting under roll call that you're present. Going forward, I would respectfully request that your vote be yes or no. In other words, you approve or disapprove. So we
Would
have
you like to-
taken that motion. So we'll proceed that the former action taken where you all acknowledge yourself as present will be an affirmative vote for the appointment of the chair. But going forward now, when you consider the vice chair, whoever is nominated second, your vote should be yes or no, please.
Understood?
Understood.
Understood.
Okay, so if we can entertain a motion for the vice chair.
I, Gail Blair Lewis, move to make Jennifer Estes vice chair.
May I have a second of that motion, please?
I, Lauren Mondell, second the motion.
We have a motion by Board Member Blair Lewis, seconded by Board Member Mondell. Roll call. Board Member Estes.
Approve.
Board Member Mondell.
Approve.
Board Member Bongiovanni.
Approved.
Board Member Blair Lewis.
Approve.
Motion carries 4-0. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So there you go. And going forward, future meetings, the chair will sit in the middle of the dais and proceed from a procedural standpoint over the course of the meeting and help entertain motions and organize discussion. And Robert's rules, I would respectfully request you consider that if you're going to have a discussion on an item before you, you allow the chair to recognize you so that you don't speak over your fellow board member and you conduct yourselves in an orderly fashion. From what I understand, just listening to you all, you'll have no problem doing that. It's just how public entities conduct their business in public. To that extent, allow me to try to give you a quick overview of Florida law now that you are sitting on a board for a municipality. You may have read in the paper, heard about the Sunshine Law, and you may have read about city officials, county officials being asked to produce records. That's a public records law. Those two laws that are embodied in the Florida statutes and are imposed on county officials and city officials, but not state legislatures. So when you go to tell your state senator, your state rep, they're not governed by the Sunshine Law or public records as much as you are. Board members, even though you're not elected, you are appointed by your governing body, in this case, the City Council, Westlake. And that appointment allows the state law to govern your conduct while you're serving in the capacity as a board member, particularly on this board. Don't let that intimidate you. So I'm just going to give you the overview and help you conduct your business going forward in accordance with Florida law. The easy part is you can't talk to your board members at a social gathering about any business that may come before you for your consideration. Nor can you meet for coffee, nor can you go to lunch and discuss business that will come before you in your capacity as a board member. If you run into someone out and about, you can talk to them about the weather, you can talk to them about your families, you can talk, but you can't talk to them about items or subject matter that will come before you for your consideration. That is supposed to be considered to be conducted in the sunshine, i.e. the public, i.e. at a public meeting where you have the city clerk recording your comments, your discussion, you have an agenda, you have items, so members of the public can attend, understand your actions, and be not concerned that something's going on behind closed doors or through emails or telephone calls. Please do not exchange emails with one another, text messages, or phone calls. Please conduct your business in public in the sunshine. I am probably remiss telling you that you may know it, you're an advisory board. You do not have the authority under the ordinance that the City Council passed to make final decisions. But you do have an important role in making recommendations based on the applications that will come before you, and you will have the benefit of staff reports making recommendations for your consideration. You do not have to accept staff's recommendations. You do not have to have a unanimous vote. There's a reason why there are 5 members. It could be a 3-2 vote. It does require a majority vote. So you can make a recommendation to approve an item that comes before you. You can vote to not approve it. You can, under the ordinance, you can impose conditions that you as majority vote would agree on. The City Council can accept your recommendation or reject it and act accordingly. But again, all of this action will be taken in the public under the, quote, sunshine, even though you meet in the evening. But so public records, I touched upon, I mentioned if you text any, or if you receive anything, say a note or a letter from an applicant asking for your support, giving you some information, anything that's associated with the business you will conduct in your capacity as a board member, please consider it a public record and it can be produced if requested by a member of the public. If you write one another a note on the dais, and I would advise you not to, but if you do, that's a public record. So it's just a question of maintaining the integrity of the process. That's the legislative intent, to ensure that you do not make a decision out in the parking lot before the meeting, where you have meetings with the three of you at lunch or somewhere else at a social event. Your votes would be determined in the sunshine based on the evidence and the material and the documents and the dialogue presented to you when you sit there in your capacity as a board member at a publicly advertised meeting. The city clerk is making a recording of your comments, and that will help her produce minutes that will provide evidence of your action going forward. So your actions are really being memorialized, and be cognizant of that, please. So that's the 10,000-foot oversight. I don't perceive any issues going forward with you all. You're going to have a very detailed presentation from staff as to what the ordinance provides, how it's going forward. I look forward to assisting you, or members of my office will. You've got a city council that's very excited about your assistance in having a big impact on the future of your city, Westlake, and how it's going to evolve, especially from an art and public places perspective. Is there any questions that I can respond to?
Not at the moment.
Did
No
I sound
questions,
too
City
much like a
Attorney.
lawyer? Did I confuse anybody? I hope not.
No.
I hope I didn't scare you. I didn't want anybody to resign tomorrow.
No, we're all good.
Okay.
Thank you, City Attorney.
All right, Madam Clerk. I am sure you will have an excellent meeting, and take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You all have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you,
You
too.
too.
Thank you.
Next item on your agenda is you have a presentation from Planning and Zoning Director, Nosa Zacharias.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, board members. Welcome to our first meeting. We are extremely excited and happy that this board is here because it's extremely important for our city to appreciate the arts. So today we have a presentation that, let's see. Yes, the presentation is brief, but we wanted to have an overview why an art program in the city of Westlake. Also, we wanted to show you briefly other art programs on another cities, and the main focus of this presentation is the ordinance 2021-12, which governs this board and this program. And then any questions that you may have. So I am Nilsa Zacharias. I'm the Planning and Zoning Director for the City of Westlake. I've been the director since 2016, and I have a bachelor degree in architecture and a master degree in planning. So we all know that arts are extremely important for urban environments. They actually define the urban environment in so many different ways. For example, when we talk about art, it could be a sculpture, like the yellow sculpture. It can also be part of a building. This is the Bacardi building. It's an iconic building in Midtown Miami. Anybody who knows this building, they will know that it's in Midtown Miami, has been there The buildings are actually two entities. The tall building is the primary structure, and then there is a smaller buildings on the background. That's the accessory structure, and it started to be built in 1963 and 1973, so it has been there for a long time. When we talk about art, also the building itself could be considered a piece of art. It's a structure, like for example, the building that is there is like a triangle with some vertical elements. So art, as you all know, is very diverse, and the most important thing is why are we implementing this art in our beautiful city? First of all, establish the city identity and character as a place where public art thrives. Also promote the beauty and interest of spaces visible to the public in private and public development projects. When you are driving around, it's very much an aesthetic contribution to have a sculpture, to have mosaics on buildings. So that's the contribution to the city of Westlake. Also, which is extremely important, supporting public art is an engine for economic development. Why art can bring economic development to the city? For example, there are a number of businesses that they decide to get established in cities where art is appreciated. Palm Beach Gardens, for example, they have a very important and robust public art program. And as you all know, it's very successful economic development, and that's one of the things. It's a very aesthetically pleasing city. Also, for example, there are many municipalities that support art fairs, art galleries that attract visitors that support our local economy. They eat in our restaurants, they stay in our hotels. It's well known around the country that there will be an art fair in such and such moment. For example, other cities, they host annual art sculpture festival, and sometimes with jury art prizes. So, or there are fine art and craft shows. In another municipality, for example, they have a partnership with high school programs with regard to the art. So art is a very important component for the success of a city. So way back in 2018, the city council adopted our comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan is the foundation of our city. Based on the comprehensive plan, we have the zoning codes. And then based on the zoning codes, we are building our buildings. So the vision clearly established that the city will be a vibrant, desirable, and welcoming place to live, work, and play. So right there on the first line, we are already defining how important is art for our city. So also through the guiding principles, we are talking about that the city will promote economic development and provides for attractive public spaces. Through the coordination of building architecture, site design, and streetscape improvements. So again, art contribute to the public spaces. When you go, for example, to a boulevard and you are walking around, you can see a sculpture, it's a pleasing environment, or a restaurant or something that they have in their garden, some art sculptures. So it truly is an engine for the city. So also, one of the guiding principles is to promote economically healthy and resilient city for existing and future populations. When this city started, right from the beginning, there was a long-term overview, we are doing this city for our children, our grandchildren. This city will thrive in the future. So, and these are the foundations. The plan will seek to enhance the city's competitive advantage and attract high-quality companies, entrepreneurs, knowledge-based businesses to the area. All of that are key components to why art is important. And this is just a quick slide show with regard to art on another municipalities. Palm Beach Gardens, I believe we are all familiar with the different places where art is exposed. Then West Palm Beach, the same thing. There are many displays of art through the city. Also Boca Raton, Delray Beach, Wellington. Coral Gables is one of the cities that truly embrace art. The program was originated in 1985, so and that's the reason Coral Gables is extremely also a desirable place to establish a business, to live. Lakeland is also another good example. They have the Lemon Street annual outdoor sculpture competition, which attracts people from around the country to enter in that competition. So the city of Naples, another high-end city, Coral Springs. And then, as I mentioned, the most important part of this presentation is to walk through the adopted city code language, which you have in your package. So there are a number of provisions there. Thanks to that ordinance that was adopted by council, this board was established also. That's part of the ordinance. So now I would like to introduce Osniel Leon. He's the planner. We work together and he will walk you through the code.
Good evening again. I'm Osniel Leon, planner for the city of Westlake. Welcome, board members. I'm going to go briefly what the language in the code that this art will have to comply and the process as well. This code was approved by the local planning agency and city council, first reading on October 11, 2021, and then it was adopted at the city council second hearing on November 22, 2021. One of the main purpose for the city of Westlake was to establish formal requirements for the funding, acquisition, placement, and maintenance of artwork within the city. And it was the intention of this program to promote public art to enhance the economic development of this new community, establish the city's identity as a place where public art would thrive and promote the beauty and interests of spaces visible to the public in both the private and the public developments. This ordinance will apply to public construction projects and private construction projects for non-residential development projects that are 1 million or more will be subject to the requirements of the Arts on Public Places program. In residential development, they are exempt. However, they can donate to the city's fund, and that will also follow the art criteria. For mixed-use projects, the portion of the mixed-use project that is non-residential will be subject to the requirements of the Arts in Public Places program, as the same manner as the non-residential development in the vertical construction cost, again, more than $1 million. The portion of the mixed-use project that is residential will be exempt from these requirements. Also, temporary structures are exempt as well. The art acquisition fund was created. It would be funded through, again, the Art and Public Places fees for public and private construction projects, cash grants, and voluntary donations to the city. Other funds allocated by the city through the budgetary process for the provisions of public art. These funds would be interest-bearing and revolving and may only use for the purpose of this program. Again, the non-residential development projects with vertical construction costs of $1 million or more will have to contribute 1% of the vertical construction cost of the project to the art acquisition fund, or provide artwork that has been an appraised value equal to 0.75%, 0.75% of the vertical construction cost of the project. If the project is built in phases, then the fee will be calculated for each phase. Applicants are encouraged to provide the artwork rather than contribute to the fund. However, the applicant intends to provide the artwork. The location of the artwork will be shown on the development site plan. This will be enforced through a condition of approval as part of the development order of the project, as well as Code Enforcement Division is also responsible for enforcing the development orders and conditions of approval. This section it's about the advisory board, which it's the configuration of the board, 5 members, and the requirements of the board. The review for the art, if the applicant proposes to provide artwork rather than contribute to the fund, the city council must approve the artwork after receiving recommendation from the Art in Public Places Advisory Board. In making its recommendations to City Council, the Art in Public Places Advisory Board will consider the quality of the artwork, experience of the artist's work, public collections, and previous public art purchases or commissions, the ability of the artist to complete the project within a specified schedule, and the compliance of the standards of this code. The process for the application will go application, city staff will review and make a recommendation to the board. And as part of the staff review, then the advisory board will make a recommendation, and then the city council will approve or deny. Artwork shall be displayed as a visually accessible location, which should be suitable to the design of the site in order for the public to receive the most enjoyment and benefit of the art. Also, the artwork funded from the acquisition fund shall be displayed in a government-owned or leased land, or a non-privately owned property within an easement in favor of the city permitting such display. Again, the integration, these are standards that will have to be met by the proposed artwork, and also must have appropriate lighting. The artwork cannot be altered or removed without prior approval from City Council. The property owner or development will have to be responsible for maintaining the artwork, and also have to comply with applicable zoning, building, and fire codes as well. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
None yet. I'm sure there'll be plenty later.
Like I said at the beginning, we are really happy to have you on board. Thank you so much for your service.
Madam Chair, you have a script that you may follow to continue the rest of the meeting if you like.
Me? Okay, so I'm a little new at this one, so shall I ask if there's any comments from the board? Okay. Are there any comments from the board members?
No, none
No.
from Jennifer.
None from Gail Lewis.
None from Lauren Mundell.
I actually have some questions myself. Is this the appropriate time to bring them up?
Yes.
Okay. The first thing I wanted to ask is, do we have an RFP project template for the artists to present their art and what they would like us to consider?
That's an excellent question. So far, this is the process that we have in place. When an applicant comes to build, for example, a storage place or a restaurant or any building, and if they want to have an art in their site, when they come for site plan review, when we review the building, we review the site, they need to indicate on the drawing already where the art will be located. Then, once that site plan is approved, then the applicant has 2 choices. Number 1, the applicant itself can look for the artist and they can propose the artwork. The other choice is that if the applicant said, no, we don't want to select the artist and we don't want to do that, they can contribute to the art fund. The city encouraged that each developer, each development provide the artwork. So when they, for example, when they select the artwork, they need to apply, and then this process will trigger. So when they say, well, Nilsa, we are ready, we already have the artist, we already have the artwork, we have an application process, so they will apply, we will review it, we'll provide you a staff report, we'll have a meeting, and you will have this opportunity to review that artwork that was already proposed by the developer. So, and the board will recommend to the council. That's the one way to do it. That's when the developer itself, the owner, proposed that. The second way to have the art program is when the developer does not want to select the artist, they will contribute to the fund. And then the city has to have a process to, to select an artist, to select an art, because then we the city, and specifically this board, will have a very hands-on opportunity to select the artist and the art. But that is when the art is purchased from the fund.
Okay, so circling back to the question, is there a specific document that is filled out if that happens so that we can evaluate the artist and the projected project, whatever it's going to be?
Right now, we don't have an application yet.
Should be, that's my question.
That's a good question. We could develop guidelines. Yes, and it's actually part of the ordinance that if this board requests, we as staff can develop a set of checklists or guidelines how to review the artwork once it's proposed. So at this time, we do not have that.
So if I could express my concern is that I'd like to have the opportunity to, when we're going to be making these decisions, to know that there is a consistent mechanism in place for any artists that are going to be presenting their materials to us. So if the guidelines could be developed, I would like to make that recommendation. Am I allowed to make a motion on myself? Can I make a motion?
I believe so. Yes, this is the board. This is a meeting. What because it's on their other matters, it was not part of the agenda, so maybe that needs to be further discussed and included on the agenda.
Perfect.
So, but definitely, we're gonna start thinking about it already.
Okay. My next question is that.
Madam Chair,
I appreciate, yes.
if I may interrupt, if I can just get a consensus that you all would like to see that on the following agenda?
Agreed.
Thank you.
Was I supposed to do that?
No.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
The next thing I have is I really love the pictures of the art in public places in the state and around our communities. Is there any suggestion or recommendation that we have a liaison relationship with Palm Beach, with the Arts and Public Places in Palm Beach? Because that's a very large and active board. Is there any thought of, some kind of an information exchange or a relationship with them?
When you say Palm Beach, are you referring to the town of Palm Beach, the island?
No, I'm referring to the county.
Oh, Palm Beach County.
Yes.
At this point, we don't have any, this is the board. If you would like to proceed that, at this point, we have not thought about that.
Is that something that we should think about, or should we table that for another time?
Yes, it will be for the next agenda.
I would say table it for right now, because it's not a provision that's set forth in the ordinance. So I'm going to take it back to legal just to have a discussion to see what type of relationship we would be able to have with them.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And so my next and my final question has to do with the construction percentage from the vertical construction. Is there going to be a methodology to monitor that they are truly devoting that 1% to the arts? And I know that's maybe a difficult question to consider, but there may be diversion of funds on those vertical projects that may not reflect and give us the right percentage of funds to move forward.
That's a very good question. And then what I would like to do is read into the records the definition of vertical construction cost. Vertical construction cost means the total cost associated with the construction or renovation of a building as determined by the building official issuing a building permit for construction or renovation of the building. So the building official will be part of that determination of the 1%. So that's part of the ordinance. And we put a lot of thought process on this. How are we going to determine the 1% of the vertical construction cost? So, and also the definition says, this includes all buildings on the project site except for site infrastructure, temporary buildings or structures, and parking garage. The vertical construction cost includes labor, structural materials, plumbing, electrical, mechanical, infrastructure design, permitting, architecture, engineering, lighting, signage, and site work associated with the building construction or renovation.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have no further questions. Anybody on the board have any?
Not at this time.
Okay.
I do actually.
Okay, the board recognizes, the chair recognizes Jennifer Estes.
Quick question. Is each developer required to put a certain amount of square footage aside for the art? How is that working?
Well, this is an ordinance that was approved last year in 2021, and this is part of the ordinance to have a board. So from now on, yes, from now, since the board is established and we have an established program, the answer is all non-residential projects must be part of the Art in Public Places program. And there are two ways that they can participate.
I don't know. Thank you.
Are there any other questions from the board member? We now open up to staff comments. Are there any comments from the staff that would like to be recognized?
Yes,
Is
Madam
that right?
Yep.
Madam Chair, if I may.
I recognize.
I'd like to give Mrs. or Board Member Mondell her oath again. I believe we missed the total line in there. So if I may, you join me back up here again. I don't want to cheat you.
Yes, they tell us to find it. Oh, they did?
I, Lauren Mundell,
Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution and government of the United States and state of Florida,
do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution and government of the United States and the state of Florida,
that I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state,
that I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state,
and that I will faithfully perform the duties of the Art and Public Places Board member of the city of Westlake, Florida,
and that I will faithfully perform the duties of Art and Public Places Board member of the city of Westlake, Florida,
on which I am now about to enter, so help me God.
on which I am now about to enter, so help me God.
Thank you.
Now, if I may also, board, we need to determine our next meeting date. So if you would, take out your calendars if you have it. Is this time of the evening a good time, 6 o'clock, for you all to meet?
Yes.
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 Okay, so we'll keep the time at 6 o'clock. I believe that there will be an application at the next meeting in October.
We don't know yet.
Okay,
We have not received it.
okay. All right, so what we'll do is we can set a tentative date and then I'll confirm later on for you once we have confirmation. So right now, we're meeting on the fourth Thursday. So that'll also give a little extra time for planning and zoning and this application to come through. Would the fourth Thursday work for you all? That would be October 27th.
28, 27. Yes, it works for Jennifer Estes.
Okay,
Works for Gail Lewis.
okay,
Yes, for Nancy.
okay,
That does not work for Lauren Montel.
okay. Is it Thursday a problem or it just happens to be that day?
That day.
That's it? Okay. We'll speak to the other board member and I'll come back to you all, send you all an email to confirm or change the date.
Okay.
Okay.
One other item I'd like to mention is that the ordinance currently has a provision for a student member. And so at the next council meeting, I'm going to present to city council maybe some guidelines, or if there's some feedback you'd like to give me that you'd like to see in a student member, we'll go to the high school. This is similar to what was done for the Education and Youth Advisory Board. We went out, we published a nice little advertisement for the students, and they pulled some of the brightest and best students that submitted resumes and submitted an application. And the Education Youth Advisory Board, they selected, but in this case, the city council will select your student member. But if you have any feedback you'd like me to give to city council, please feel free to let me know, or if you want to table that for a moment, and then we can discuss that at the next meeting. If you want to think of some provisions, some guidelines you'd like to see in the student.
Let's table that.
Okay, so you all give it some thought
Yep.
and bring it back to me, and then I can take it to council, and then we can start seeking a student member.
Okay.
That's all the comments that I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much for that. Are there any public comments from the community? Each speaker will be given a total of 3 minutes to comment. A public comment card could be completed. I think also you can do the hands up. So are there any Madam Clerk, are there any public comment cards or comments from the virtual audience?
Board Chair, I received no public comments previously to the meeting. We'll give the virtual audience a moment to unmute their device, state their name and address. If you're a caller that has been muted, please press *6 and state your name and your address.
The board recognizes Mayor J.P. O'Connor. Would like to say something? Thank you.
Wow, guys. Hi. Hello. For the record, Mayor JP O'Connor, 15914 Rain Lily Way, City of Westlake. I just wanted to say thank you so much, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, rest of the board. I'll start off by saying that every committee has a liaison, somebody from the actual council that acts as a liaison between the committee and the council. And I very eagerly volunteered to be your liaison. That is how important this committee is. That's how important it is to me. It's how important it is to the city. The recommendations that you guys make to council and the decisions that you make, you'll have your fingerprints on the city literally forever. It's a big deal. It's a big responsibility. And I really just want to thank everybody for stepping up to the plate and serving in this capacity. Although you guys can't talk to each other outside of a meeting, you are completely within rights to talk to me all you want. So for those of you who don't already know me, I promise you'll get to know me. If you ever have any procedural questions or anything really at all, please, there should be a stack of my cards in front of you, Nancy. Everybody take one. I think they're there somewhere. If not, I'll run to the truck and grab some. And please, I'm here for you whenever you need me, and enjoy your time on the board.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Words of wisdom from our mayor.
We'll give the virtual audience just a moment to raise their virtual hand. If you wish to make a comment, please raise your virtual hand. If you've been muted, please press *6. State your name and your address. You'll have 3 minutes. We have no public comments, Chair.
So being no further business, this meeting is adjourned at
6:56.
6:56 PM. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.